for the afternoon. That's Caitlin. So I want to hand over quickly to just say, introduce herself, and then our first speaker of the afternoon.
Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin, and I am the CEO of Oval Branding. We are a London-based branding and marketing. Hello, can you hear me? On and off. I'm the CEO of Oval Branding. We are a London-based branding, marketing, PR agency for people in tech, blockchain. I love working with new businesses, learning about what they're doing, helping you grow your brand. So if you're interested in learning more about that, definitely grab me later. I'm very privileged to be hosting today, and I'd love to introduce Filippo, who's going to talk to us about the marketplace and the metaverse.
Cool, awesome. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Amazing. Let's get started. I'll just get my slides. So while that is happening, I'll quickly introduce myself. So hi everyone, I'm Filippo. For the last 7 years, I run my own go-to-market advisory firm. I joined blockchain in 2019, and today I mostly focus on education for enterprises, so Web3 education for enterprises, and not just as a buzzword, but actually doing it for and with brands and with some of the layer ones. And I also teach the Binance Master in Blockchain and Crypto. I teach crypto marketing and business models at the Masters. So without further ado, today we will talk. You're good there, Miles? Yeah, sorry. Cool. All good. So today I will introduce you to go-to-market in the metaverse, and afterwards, at 3 o'clock, there will be a session that is where you actually get to practice that. So it's going to be a session of a 1-hour session where we actually get to practice what we're going to do. Hopefully I'll blow your mind with some of the things we're going to talk about now. So let's start with top 130 brands. So this is an exercise that we did. This is an independent research that we did for this podcast that we've been having for the last half year called Brands in Web3. We personally worked with some of those. Last week we had Time Magazine on last week. 2 weeks ago we had Skoda. This week we have EY. Next week we have Asprey, and so on and so forth. These are the top leaders that have joined the Web3 space today. Excuse me for using some old logos for some of those, but unfortunately I couldn't find something that had a black background, so that's I had to improvise. And so the next thing is I wanted to show you maybe why is it that these top brands have joined the space, right? And one of the reasons that we often see is because, well, everyone else is joining, and so it's FOMO out there, and we should all join because everyone else is joining. Well, the truth is that's not the reason to join, or not a good reason to join. The good reason to join is because we understand, or brands understand, that Gen Z and Gen Alpha are the next, they are the upcoming buyers and the future generations, and they will be taking over the market. Today their purchasing power is limited. Tomorrow it won't be. Today 3.03 billion people are gamers. That's a third of the world, right? And there is no doubt about the fact that the new paradigm, the new socioeconomic paradigm, is in immersive reality. There's no doubt about that. So this is actually my cousin. I wanted to show you the ideal customer profile of your future, right? Of our future. His name is Daniel. He's 18 years old. He just turned 18. He's a digital nomad, just like myself. He's based in Amsterdam at the moment, and he is a content creator and a community moderator on Discord. He's already making tons of money. I'm jealous. He's already, he already has communities. He already has tons of things that are happening in his life, and he has what is called discretionary spend, right? So he's going to be buying. But the thing is, the issue is, and that's also what some of the news outlets are talking about today, potentially in 10 years these brands are not going to be there because they're not speaking to Daniel at the moment. Sorry. Anyway, excuse me. So these brands are not speaking to Daniel at the moment, and Daniel cares less about luxury. He cares less about ownership. He cares about digital ownership. Whenever he purchases digitally first. and he cares about having a social impact on the world. So he cares less, for example, about owning a car. And what he cares about is you know, being part of a brand, or being attached to a brand, but in a different way. And that is why all of these brands have joined the space, because they understand that this is the next level of customer engagement and brand loyalty. A bit about the top 7 industries that are in the market today that have joined the Web3 space. This is also from independent research. Fashion is obviously leading. Fashion also includes luxury products. We then have retail and e-commerce, sports and entertainment and music, I've put them together, consumer goods and tech, automotive and transport, big one there. Huge automotive brands joining, because obviously they see that people don't want to, you know, have a car anymore. So what they want to do is have this instead. And you know, instead of having a Ferrari, you know, just like you used to have the merch of the Ferrari or the key holder of the Ferrari, now you have an NFT of the Ferrari. And finance and professional services, which is, you know, all the you know, the consulting firms that are basically joining. So what I will do now is I'll show you how brands have started this, and this is basically the strategy that is behind some of what the most successful brands have been doing. And then I'll run through it really quickly, obviously, because we don't have a lot of time. And then, of course, feel free to ask me any questions at the end. And we will also have the session at 3 o'clock for whoever wants to join. And we'll go through it again. So, I was going to say, the way to look at Web3 is to look at this as a tool set, right? Web3 is not the end goal. Web3 is a set of tools that can be used to achieve that next level of customer engagement and brand loyalty. And it starts with the idea, is it possible to maybe close the door, please? Thanks. It starts with the idea of decentralization. So how to co-create together with communities. What I mean by decentralization is creating communities with your buyers or your users that are essentially where the buyer feels engaged in a different way, right? So it might, you know, you might have a decentralized community for your product, and traditionally speaking, for some of the products, it's for people that have used the products or using the product. In this case, it's a community to nurture into purchase and to co-create together. So it kind of comes before. On top of that, and you know, starting from the decentralization layer, by the way, some of the brands will ignore the decentralization layer entirely. They'll start with the tokenization layer, which is essentially creating token-gated efforts, or having, or setting some sort of loyalty, setting up some sort of loyalty programs with tokens, essentially. And then on top of that come digital realities, which is immersive, digital and immersive realities, VR, AR, augmented realities, virtual realities, for those that don't know how it is divided. And what it does essentially is it's the place where utility comes to life, right? So today, the most tangible way to actually do this is to create a token, and then pair it with something physical, and then eventually also have some kind of digital layer to it. Unfortunately, yes, a third of the world is actually in immersive realities, but the truth is it is still, you know, whereas this is more tangible, the digital reality side still feels a bit fluffy to many, but there are, you know, tons of brands that are actually doing this, and this is the end goal, right? The digital realities, or the Metaverse, as we call it, is the end goal, and the Metaverse is essentially Web3. That's the only way to define it, really. So this is the canvas that I have created, and I have applied to some of the activations that I've done, and it is basically based on you know, some of the top 130 brands that we spoke about before. I teach this, like I said before, at the Binance Masters, and I think it is a very, you know, it provides a simple framework on how to go on about it. Of course, it's not the only way to do it, but it is. I think it fits well with what is happening out there today, and you will be able to see how some of the most successful project activations actually follow these steps. So the first one is the segments. So it's basically your why, right? Your audience is your why, and what brands have done successfully, or those that have activated successfully in the space, what they've managed to do is target their the segment that is interested in Web3, right? So many have been saying, okay, well, it's a question of FOMO. I just need to do an project activation in Web3. Well, actually, no. What you need to do is first understand which part of your customer segment is going to resonate with, and how to be able to reach them, first of all, to be able to get the short initial success, to then do A/B testing for it. Okay, super fundamental. That's step one. Step two is the tools that we spoke about before. Are we over time? How? Oh, wow, okay. I'm going to be really quick then. The second one is tools. It's basically how to apply the three elements, which is decentralization, tokenization, and digital reality. The pyramid that I spoke about before in the three different levels. The third one is resources. So what are the options? How much does it cost us? Project stewardship. Within companies, mostly it's usually a head of innovation or head of branding that is taking over this, and then it's hiring a Web3 junior native, which doesn't understand very often how strategy is supposed to be set up. And potentially we're seeing the rise of the chief Metaverse officer or whatever, which is the chief innovation officer, which for the first time is actually responsible for revenue. I was going to say activation options. We can discuss this later, but with NFTs, it's usually either, well, also with the Metaverse, it's either creating your own project or partnering up with a project, just like Wrangler with Deadfellas, or buying an agency, just like Nike did with Artifact, for example. Last one is, before the last one is implications. What are the implications? Legal, financial, branding. NFTs are actually financial assets, for some that don't know. The legal side of it is obviously how can you control the fact that an NFT goes to an end user that is in a country that you don't want to sell to, right? So like it's a country that is questionable arguably. And of course the branding implications. What are the implications in terms of branding? And the last part is distribution. How do you distribute it to your communities, which is internal buy-in and support from the company. And I can tell you, for example, Skoda is doing an amazing job, right? The Web3 lead at Skoda, what he did is he actually brought some of the top thought leaders in to do educational programs to teach everyone within the company how to set up a crypto wallet. It's amazing, right? That basically means he's propagating through Web3 ambassadors the whole effort throughout his company, right? Education, this is, that's where we come in. A/B testing application based on segments, which is, for example, Time Magazine, they started with a small project which was one issue on chain. They then did a partnership with Timbaland and they launched their Timepieces collection. And eventually they decided, or they announced that they're going to take the entire Time Magazine on chain, but that's going to be something, that's the end goal that is going to happen in the future. And of course the last part is partnership. We can't work without partnership. So yeah, we're going to explore all of this in
Thank you very much, Filippo. No problem. I have a question for you before you head off. Where is the session at 3 p.m. and how do people attend? Sure.
So I mean, we're going to go through some of these things again and actually try it out. It's going to be in Bishop Gate 2 or Bishop 2, the room over there. That is just next to the right of the entrance.
Okay.
Yeah, where you get the
excellent. Filippo later on. Thank you. Round of applause.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
And I'm very pleased to welcome our panel for the next session, led by Dave Carr. And the panel is on bridging the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. Welcome the panelists. How about you introduce yourselves to someone near you that you don't know yet? Say hi to someone you don't know.
I got a loud voice anyway. So